Hey friends, just finished up lesson 11 and I have been saying that I'm going to do a review or more of my personal experience, and I'm realizing I don't even think I have really spoken about my journey with A Course in Miracles and what this looks like here. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna start there, and I also will do a review of what this practice has been to me so far after recording the first 11 lessons of A Course in Miracles. And so I was taken to A Course in Miracles class with my teacher, who is still my teacher today, Earl Purdy. You can find his stuff on Facebook, on YouTube, and I went and in person in Denver. So I went to a class in person in Denver, Colorado at Unity Temple, 1555 Race Street. And a friend took me there, and I just remember the section, I can't tell you what section he went over, but I just opened up wherever we were at in the book, and the way it was being taught. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, this is something that actually makes so much sense to me. I just read it, and it was in a language that I could understand. And prior to that, I had been on a path of I would say, spiritual searching and spiritual inquiry. So whether that was The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, whether that was The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, just reading books, exploring different things. And I really considered myself to be someone who was a seeker. Like, oh, okay, I'll take a little bit of this, take a little bit of that, take a little bit of this, and like create something that works for me or is all my own. And what I came to realize after finding A Course in Miracles is I was on a search until I found. And for me, I think it was really important for me to find a path and to have a path to walk down. And that doesn't mean I'm not still a seeker. I've just recently been exploring a whole bunch of, a lot of different books again. And if you ever want me to share kind of where the journey has been taking me recently, it's been going in a variety of directions that have been really beautiful. But honestly, once I found A Course in Miracles, I was like, okay, there is so much for me to explore and to connect with here, that I was like, okay, what does it look like to just be in a place where I have found? And one of the things that really drew me to A Course in Miracles was that it didn't claim a monopoly on truth. It does say that there is a truth, and that there are, it's not saying that it's like, hey, everybody's truth is true. It's not saying that either. It's like, hey, in a section I read recently with my teacher, it's like, love is not an illusion, it is a fact, right? Or nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists, that therein lies the peace of God. Like, there are so many truths that A Course in Miracles points to and is like, no, this is the truth, and also very clearly differentiates what's love and what's what's fear, what's the ego, what's that one self connection versus where are we in separation. Like, it is very extensive. It is very extensive in going through those differences and what it looks like, what it feels like, how it shows up, what a holy relationship is compared to a special relationship. And it does not say, hey, this is the only path to get there. This is the only path to get to some of these truths. But it was the path for me. And so when I consider what I want to share or what I want to do, and there's, I completed graduate school for counseling. I've been a substance use counselor, doing therapy and groups for the past over 5 years now. I part of my career is doing therapy and counseling with people, and I love that work. I feel really blessed to get to do something that I truly love, and I want to be helpful. I want to be helpful to people whose path that this is. And I'm not exactly sure what that wants to look like. I want to step back and let the Holy Spirit take the lead on what this looks like. I know it started off with just dedicating myself to going back through the 365 lessons. And when I say go back, what I mean by that is I had, and maybe some of you are on here from there, Miracle Megan Facebook page, where I started the lessons in July of whatever year it was, and I finished all 365 lessons like at the end of like a year and a half later. And it was so powerful, and I did all of those live. And I really needed that. I could not get myself through the lessons. I'd gotten through all of the texts. I'd read the text. I'd read the manual for teachers. I'd read the supplemental material. The Course says you'll also be, guided in your own way to taking through the material. So some people start off with the work, like you can start off anywhere you feel guided, but I knew that the next step was going through the lessons. I knew that was the next place that I needed to go, and I wasn't finding a way to get there on my own. And I knew myself well enough that if I created some community, if I created like a external form of accountability, like if it was like, hey, I'm showing up for this for you, and then ultimately all that I give is given to myself. And so it was amazing. I just look at that time and I'm so, so, so grateful because it gave me so much. After I finished recording that and recording the manual for teachers, I just had, and I don't know exactly when it happened or where it happened, but all of a sudden I was doing a Course in Miracles lesson every day. And I would go into an app, I think it's called ACIM Remind. And I'd go into that app and I'd choose a random number generator and I would use that lesson for the day. And it got to this point where it was very rare that I ever missed, and I rarely ever missed a lesson. And now it wasn't this externalized process. It wasn't to show up for it as like I was showing up for myself in that way. And I needed that first step first. And now, so I've been kind of doing the random number generator. I have been still, studying probably, like a minimum of 4 hours a week. Like this has still been a part of my path, even though it hasn't been online for a number of years at this point. Because I really think I needed to transition. I needed to recognize the idols or the attachment that I had to the outside world, and I needed to spend more time developing my inner world. And life and the Holy Spirit really helps lead me to a way to do that. I moved away from Colorado and ended up in Mexico, which, even actually 2 years ago today, and it is January 10th because I'm recording the lessons a day early. I thought I would actually be kind of built up and have give myself more days of bandwidth, like recording a few in a day, but I think it's working out perfectly because I can trust myself to do these and to show up for these 365 days. That was all besides the point, but January 10th, so 2 years ago today, I went on a trip with a friend to go check out a treatment center that was in Baja California. And it was a plant-based medicine treatment center. And there was, curiosity around that. I am someone so I've been doing the substance use counseling for 5 years. I'm someone who got into a program of recovery with the 12 steps January 1st of 2011. And so, yeah, I went out there, and by the end of that trip, I'd been offered a job, and I knew from the very beginning that I was not going out there for the job, but that the job was taking me out there. And I can't hardly explain how big of a difference, how much of a changed person I am based on that decision to go live in Mexico, So many things, like I mean, it was kind of like just a greater level of deprogramming, deprogramming these things, like always thinking that I needed Amazon or just certain aspects of, life just had a chance to slow down. I wasn't working like 4 jobs and had this huge recovery community and life where I'm running here, running there. And in Denver, I have so many people I love and that I care about. And I was just busy all of the time. And so in the past couple of years, there's really been this greater sense of being able to develop my inner world, to be able to slow down, to be able to, shift. So much shifting has taken place. And since then, I recently moved again to another place in Mexico in August of this year, at the beginning of August. And now I'm here, and I moved here totally on faith. On faith, because I didn't know anybody here. I had just, I just had to trust what I felt. I had to trust that inner guide, that inner knowing. And I'm still waiting for it to play out. I still can't say I know exactly why I'm here. I don't even think, again, like I don't have to understand. I have to just show up. And I could do so many story times of all the ways in which miracles have happened in my life since I've come into this material. And I'm sure miracles were definitely happening in my life before. But being able to really tune in, and the level of forgiveness, the types of peace at navigating relationship challenges, shifts that have come around my consciousness with money and time. And it has shifted my worldview. And there's still plenty of places. I think one of the big differences from the last time that I recorded the lessons is it's kind of like when you're like when I was a new student, it was like, oh, wow. Like I was soaking it all up like a sponge, and I was like, wow, okay, I'm already so far in this. Like, wow, I know so much. And now as I've gotten further into my learning, part of my learning has been to recognize how much I don't know, how much there is for me to still learn, how much my ego and my sense of separation and my fears show up. Yeah, I'm in a whole new place of, and I'm in a new place with my level of willingness. Yeah, and I had some things show up in just the past couple months that made it really clear. I've been, one of the places I have been fear-based has been just kind of hiding away in my own little world where I'm like, I've been so much more into creating my own like inner world that, but I know this is actually a lot of the things that show up in the cameos of the annotated version of A Course in Miracles, where it talked about the difference between revelation, miracles and revelation. And, revelation is having these powerful moments where you just recognize that connection with God, and it's very personal. It's very personal. But that what's actually more useful is being out in the world and being a miracle worker. Being a miracle worker, like, even if we look at Jesus, right? He spent time in contemplative prayer and did those things, would go off into, his own space to just commune with God. But ultimately, it was always about coming back out and being of use and being of service. And that's part of in the cameos where it talks about more of Bill and Helen's experience as they were going through this material. It was like being a miracle worker and showing up in the world and taking those opportunities, listening to that guidance of how to help, how to support, how to show up for one another. And so I know that this year I want to show up to a greater degree. I had a hermiting era, and it was very necessary, but I'm only going to recognize what I have by giving. And I've been given so much through this material, and there's so many times where I don't even recognize how much I've been given because I'm not sharing. And so I don't know exactly what that's gonna look like. I know that I was even surprised when I started the lessons, because in the past I did add a lot more of my own interpretation, added a lot more of kind of sharings of experience. And don't get me wrong, like I want to bring myself into this. I want to be personal. I want to share. And I feel like when it comes to the lesson, like this is how it was given. It's not I don't even have to understand it. That's what I'm getting on such a deeper level with my practice in A Course in Miracles right now. I don't have to understand it. The question right now is my willingness. Am I willing to do it? Am I willing to have the practice that it suggests in the lesson today? Am I willing to repeat that idea? My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Am I willing to spend a minute? Am I willing to ground before I get into my practice so that I can actually show up and be able to hear what it's saying? And so that's why I'm wanting to leave it just as it is, as much as possible, and then to share what it's looked like for me. And in these past 11 days or 10 days, in this past, 10, 11 days, it's been so powerful because I have been doing all these kind of like random here, there, and everywhere. This course really does build on itself. And even though I definitely can see that I'm going to continue to go through patterns or, through cycles, that it's likely that I'll kind of, incorporate the random lessons as well. But for this year, it's like, wow, I'm getting a lot out of it building on itself. And I'm noticing that now at this point in my study that I really do, some of these things come to mind. I'm still incredibly forgetful, incredibly forgetful. But when I can remember to do it, even as maybe I'm speaking about the state of the world and like, oh, what's going on here and there and everywhere, and I'm like, I'm never upset for the reason I think. I'm never upset for the reason I think. I'm upset because I see something that's not there. I'm upset because I see something that's not there. And when I use this and I tell myself that, I notice a shift. And that doesn't mean I have some other big answer. It's not like I'm never upset for the reason I think. So now I know why I am upset. No, that's probably another, that is just another thing that is not for the reason I think, right? And yeah, sure, it's like I see only my past in this, right? Or it has been really powerful. I'm going through some big shifts and changes. And yeah, I mean, even this past week, I've just had some funky days, right? I've made a lot, like this entire past year, or 2025, like really, it's been a lot of letting go. It has been a lot of letting go. And in many ways, I have never felt more free And in other way, and so that's very true and real about this. And I am untethered in a way that that is new to me. That is new to me. I don't have as big of these like identity structures that I used to have, whether that was, I was in a very long-term relationship that has completed. I am living in a new place. I got rid of so many things in order to be able to come here, like just recognizing what doesn't matter. And there were a lot of things I was investing in that didn't matter, that don't matter. Even my relationship to my career. And believe me, I love my career. And I don't feel as like attached, like this is who I am. I am a therapist. It's like, I don't, I am, and I don't have a huge sense of identity showing up from that anymore. And I am freer than I've ever been. And I also have less of a construct for who I am than I've ever had. I'm not as externalized anymore. I mean, I live in a place where I could literally go out and do something probably like fun and exciting every single day of the week. And no, I'm slow pacing it. Like, I am not driven by the same things I used to be driven by. And I have not fully translated to really allowing the Holy Spirit to guide me, because I know that would give me more joy. That would give me more joy than anything I've ever looked at externally. And so I'm in the process. I am going through these lessons, and we're going through them together. And I'm so grateful. I am so grateful to even, I know this is a part of my guidance. I have no storyline of where it's supposed to go or what it's supposed to mean or what it's supposed to do. And all I'm responsible for is I want to step back and let the Holy Spirit lead the way. And the Holy Spirit the simplest things have changed my life. You guys, it just works, even for example, when I get cancellations at work, I say, oh, Holy Spirit cancellation. I was meant to have this time and space for something else or for myself. And then all the fear, all the, any like judgment or whatever, like just goes away. It's incredible. And that's just like such a simple example. It's such a simple example. But guess what? That happens all the time. Like, I think sometimes we look for these big things, and it's not the big things. It's the small things. It's the small things like showing up for yourself every single day and showing up to your lesson. It's the small things like going for a walk, or it's the small things like shifting your perception about this thing, but that it shows up all of the time, maybe on your commute to work, like just shifting your perception so that you don't have to disturb yourself. I loved in some of the lessons that we've covered so far, this is I have been this has been something that stood out to me about A Course in Miracles for years. There are no small upsets. They are all equally disturbing to my peace of mind. There are no small upsets. They are all equally disturbing to my peace of mind. And that goes in parallel to also, there's no order of difficulties in miracles. There's no order of difficulty in miracles. No matter how big or small you think a problem is, there's no order of difficulty in miracles. And then also on the other side, there are no small upsets. They are all equally disturbing to having peace of mind. And so I don't know where these sharings or these reviews are going to go, but I know I have definitely been using them. And they have been helpful, and they have been useful, and I've still had plenty of times of forgetting. And that's, part of the reason why I wanted to incorporate a practice period into our studying together, to make sure that I fully do a practice period. And I hope that it's also useful to you. There's been so many times where I've read the whole thing and then I haven't actually done what it says to do. And I'm working on my willingness. And I'm grateful to be able to share in, and with that, in, wait, what was I trying to say? I'm grateful to be sharing it with you. I'm going to get off of here now because I'm not sure where else to go, but if there are any things, what I do feel like I will be regularly doing is every 7 to 10 days or so, like a couple times a month, I'm going to do one of these longer videos where I talk about what my experience has been of it so far. It's been awesome. I know I'm doing exactly what it is that I'm supposed to be doing for my own growth and development. And if it is useful to others, I'm so grateful and so happy for that. So grateful and so happy for that. And I know I needed this. I know I needed to have another year of just showing up, letting it build, seeing what is revealed, and then taking it a step further and really working on using the ideas. I don't have to understand. I don't have to understand. I'm being asked to use them. And their use is going to give it meaning and show me that it's true. So much love. I'll look forward to joining with you again whenever it is that you hop on here next. But I know I'll be here tomorrow for lesson 12.